What wonders of creation can keep the cleanest house in nature, make the only unspoilable food, fend off monsters hundreds of times their size, and all while making that delectable golden confection on your morning toast? It's the Herculean honeybee. Hi, I'm Max Harmon from the Country Cousins 4-H Club, and this is my 10th year in entomology. I started entomology because I love learning new things, and as a way to branch out from entomology, I've begun beekeeping. But the honeybees are in trouble. Each year, beekeepers around the world lose about a quarter of their hives every year, and scientists aren't quite sure why. We need to be doing everything in our power to save the honeybees. If you don't think honeybees are actually important in all of our everyday lives, you'd be horribly mistaken. Honeybees are pollinators. This means that they support large parts of our food chain. When honeybees go from flower to flower to drink nectar, they pick up pollen grains, and pollen grains are what fruit and plants and flowers all need to reproduce and bear seeds. But they generally prefer pollen grains from a different flower to do so. This is where the honeybee comes in. Honeybees fly from flower to flower with all these different pollen grains, and every time she lands, she drops a few. This is what allows the fruit and plants to reproduce and bear seeds in exchange for nectar and pollen for the honeybee, a perfect symbiotic relationship. While it is true that most plants that they can self-pollinate, which means that they can reproduce and bear seeds without this essential service from the honeybees. However, when a plant is pollinated, it produces more, bigger, and better tasting fruit. This means that pollination makes growing plants more profitable and makes farming more efficient for farmers. Most people might argue that butterflies and hummingbirds could pick up the slack because they're pollinators too. While it is true that hummingbirds and other pollinators do okay at pollination, honeybees are the most efficient. They're practically built for pollination. Honeybees have special baskets on their hind legs that help collect pollen. And while hummingbirds and butterflies eat just enough nectar and pollen to survive off of and migrate during the winter, honeybees collect more than they need so that they can build up winter stores of food and live over the winter. Honeybees are very important in our everyday lives, but people aren't quite sure why they're dying off. Scientists have three main reasons that might provide the answer. The first is disease. We've all been sick before, but did you know that honeybees can get sick too? Honeybees keep the cleanest house in nature. A beehive is practically 99% sterile. However, there are still diseases that can wipe out whole honeybee colonies. One of the worst ones is called foul brood. Foul brood is a disease that comes through a honeybee hive and causes all the honeybee eggs and larvae to rot. This means that there are no more young bees hatching and will eventually kill off the hive. The second reason bees are dying are parasites. Have you ever had a tick or head lice before? Well, those are parasites. People might think that honeybees are too small for anything to hang off of them, but there are actually two main parasites of the honeybee. The first is called a varroa mite. This smaller version of a tick attaches to a honeybee's thorax and sucks out her hemoglobin, a honeybee's version of blood. This makes it hard for the honeybee to fly and will eventually kill her. The second type of parasite is called a tracheal mite. Tracheal means having to do with the throat, and this mite is much smaller than the varroa mite and collects around a honeybee's breathing spiracles. Once they build up in a honeybee hive, this causes issues for all the honeybees to breathe and can kill off a hive extremely quickly. The third and most controversial reason about why honeybees might be dying off is pesticides and other herbicides. Most pesticides aren't that harmful to honeybees. However, there's one specific type that causes great damage. This type is called neonicotinoids, and these type of insecticides affect the honeybee's brain and nervous system and can be carried back to the pollen and nectar and can affect a whole honeybee hive. This might be what scientists are calling CCD, colony collapse disorder. This is when whole colonies of honeybees fly off into the sunset, never to be seen again. Scientists aren't quite sure what's causing it, but a probable cause could be these pesticides. In conclusion, these honeybees are very important in each and every one of our everyday lives and need a little help from humans. One thing we can all do is plant some flowers. These flowers can provide some extra food to a honeybee colony and can help them survive through the winter. Second, if you can just look at which insecticides and herbicides you're using. In most cases, you don't have to completely stop using insecticides, just make sure not to buy the neonicotinoid ones. And third, if you're completely into saving the honeybees, you can even start your own beehives, just like I did. Hopefully with a little help from us humans, honeybees can continue to provide us with liquid gold for many years to come.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
That was really good.